Good evening and welcome back into Astros Recap. It is currently 10:48 p.m. June the 2nd, 2019, as the Astros have wrapped up another week of the regular season. I believe this is the 12th week. So they played a little more than 2 months of baseball. Very good week as they went 5-1. So I can't complain at all there. I mean, if you could go 5-1 every week, I would definitely take it. I mean, I know they had an undefeated week. They've had, 2 10-game winning streaks. So they've been playing pretty good baseball. Last week they actually went 4-3, so that was just sort of a so-so week. Not a terrible week, but also not a great week. Splitting with the White Sox and then taking 2 or 3 from Boston. This week, 3 with the Cubs and 3 with Oakland with the off day there on Thursday. So all things good. They took 2 or 3 from Chicago and then swept Oakland. So they've had Oakland's number this year. I believe they've won. Let's see, they played 7 of 8. I believe they've won. Only lost 1. And Oakland was a team that really took advantage of us back in our tough years from 2011 to 2013. And they won 2 back-to-back division titles, I believe, in 13 and 14. Or am I doing 12 and 13? I think L.A., the Angels, actually won that division in 14. But in fact, the first year we moved to the American League, which was 2013, they won the first 9 games played against us. So it's kind of good to get them back a little bit. We've kind of had their number the last few years. So it's kind of good to get our payback, I would say, playing, each team in the division 19 times. But I want to start with the Cubs. So we had the Monday Memorial afternoon game. They won the first 2 games of the series and then dropped the finale. I look at the record now, they're 40-20. And that's pretty sweet to look at that record. I mean, they're head and shoulders above everybody in the AL West, but that's a pretty sweet record to look at when you've won twice as many as you have lost. And I talked a lot about that last week, doubling up your wins there. And I talked about how Boston did it last year, 108-54, I believe was the record. And it's really tough to do. You think in the other sports when it's football and basketball or you play, 16, 82 games, it's easier to do that. When you play, 162 games, it's really tough to do that. But looking at a 40-20 record is pretty sweet. So, and instead of looking at the division, because we're just, see if I can pull this up here, but they're the lead, which has been, it's 8.5 now. Texas actually been playing pretty good baseball. They've sort of overachieved. But, I look at us compared to the other top teams in all of baseball instead of looking at the division, because I think this is going to be a cakewalk, and I don't really see anybody even getting close to us unless we have an extended losing streak, which is probably going to happen at some point, but hopefully the lead will be big enough to where I really can't see anybody getting within 5 of us, 5 games. So I think we'll be good there. New York, the Yankees did lose, so we're tied in the loss column. Of course, we played 2 more and won 2 more, so we're a full game ahead of them. Minnesota, they rarely lose. They're 40-18, so they are a full game ahead of us, but they're up 2 in the loss column, which is the more important of the 2. And the loss column's the important one, so they've only lost 18. They're a full game ahead of us. The shift to the National League, the only team is the Dodgers, and they're 41-19, so they're pretty good as well. Full game ahead of us as well. But the Twins, who would have thought that? They have an 11.5 game lead, so their division's pretty much on lockdown as well. Never would have thought Minnesota would be this good. They did add some players. Think about, Marwin Gonzalez, Nelson Cruz, of course, Eddie Rosario, Jorge Polanco, people like that. And their pitching, trying to think, but Martin Perez, Jake Odorizzi, a few others have really done a good job. But focus on the Astros. Those are just the teams that are better than us as things stand right now. I go by that saying, you are what your record says you are. So those Most teams are better as of now. And we're dealing with injuries, something I haven't even brought up yet. But to just backtrack here for a second, what I'm trying to focus on is this Cubs series. So they won the first 2 games in the series. You know, the Cubs were without Chris Bryant and Anthony Rizzo the first 2 games, I believe, because they had some collision, I believe, on Sunday. Bryant did play the 3rd game there, the one we lost. Hayward may have played the 2nd and 3rd game in that series. I'm not 100% sure, but I think yes. So I'm trying to get some scores here if I can pull this up. So we won on Monday. We had a big, I believe, 6-run inning where we beat them. We won 6-5. So Osuna was a little shaky there, and he has been. He had been on Saturday blowing the save against Boston, the prior week, and then giving up 2 more. Chicago came back, but we were ultimately able to shut the door there, get the win. And then after Monday, so another injury popped up. So Correa, who had a scheduled day off Monday, it's just a scheduled day off. Tuesday we get news, not only Correa, who apparently broke a rib, and I'll get into that in just a minute, but also Jose Altuve, who was on a rehab assignment due back Wednesday or Friday in Oakland. He suffered a setback. There was 2 things they brought up when it came to issues. One was the knee, which is kind of a scary thing because it's the same knee that got operated on in the offseason after they got eliminated in the playoffs last year, playing Boston, and he actually played through the injury. And I remember the coaching staff and everybody saying that if it was in the regular season, he would have been on the DL. But he played through it, and he had, major surgery on that knee. And I don't know if it's sore or what. The 2 things they said, I'm not sure the other minor injury, but there was some soreness. And I don't know if it's still the hamstring, but that's what the reason he was on the DL. So right now he's just resting, I guess, doing rehab, but they brought him back to Houston and stopped the rehab assignments. So he's going to be another few weeks. Correa apparently broke a rib during a massage at his house, which is, how do you break a bone during a massage? Apparently the masseuse or whoever it was put too much pressure on, I don't know if it was the left or right side, but I'm not going to get into, what they may or may not be covering up if they're telling the truth. Bottom line is he's hurt and he's out. The original estimated time there is 4 to 6 weeks. So you're not going to see a Correa for more than a month. You'll see him probably in mid-July, I would guess, at this point. And Springer's in that same boat when it comes to time because he's got the grade 2 hamstring strain, and it'll be another month for him as well. Now, Altuve and Diaz, 6 people together on the deal. So you got, of course, your big 3 with Altuve, Springer, and Correa. You got Aledmys Diaz, who had been playing really well until he got hurt, filling in for Altuve at second base. So, yeah. And then you got Colin McHugh, who I would think is close. I'm not sure if he's going for a rehab, but we're not really missing him that much right now. And Max Stassi, who I believe that was sort of knee-related. I can't really give you Colin McHugh. He was pitching so terrible that the DL, or IL, I should say, kind of go back and forth, get confused, but it is called the IL when you get put on that 10-day list there. But yeah, so we've called up a lot of people. Brady Rogers was brought up mainly to fill the void. He hasn't pitched much at all. I think he's only had 1 outing, but he's been called up to sort of take McHugh's spot. Garrett Stubbs as the catcher, who had a pretty good game on Tuesday. He hasn't done much since, but we'll see what we got with Garrett Stubbs. Derek Fisher's been called up. Miles Straw, a few others, but yeah, half the team is like AAA at this point. It's just, and they're still winning, which is the crazy thing about it. When you think about, you could expect, there to be a struggle when it comes to scoring runs, things like that, but they've been able to do what they've needed to do to get wins. And Bregman and Correa, or Bregman and Brantley are the only 2 in the lineup that you can really count on, I feel like, week in or day in and day out with consistent production. So, but Miles Straw, big speed guy. In fact, if you remember, well, I guess you don't, but way back before the season started, I actually thought he might make the roster to start the season, because I just feel like his speed is a huge asset late in games when you need to get a steal or something that's not big in baseball anymore, but steals. Yeah, steals like nobody does it anymore, but it's a big part of the game late in games, whether you're tied or down or run, to try to steal a base, get in scoring position, or whatever it might be. And he actually made a huge impact today. But so you win the first two games. They scored a ton on Tuesday, winning that against the Cubs 9-3 or 9-6. They kept coming back, but Bregman hit 2 home runs. Garrett Stubbs had a big hit, big RBI. I think Marisnik had a few RBIs, big hits. So there was a lot of contributions. A lot of these players that wouldn't get a lot of time are getting a chance now to show what they got. First place team, and sometimes that'll light a fire under some guys and make them play 10 times harder now that they're finally getting a chance in the big leagues. So yeah, things going well. Hopefully this keeps up. People that are fixtures in the lineup, like I said, Brantley, Bregman, Yuli, also have to feel like a step up, play a little harder. And, of course, Reddick. You got Marisnik playing most of the games in center. They've played Kemp at second. They've had Jack Mayfield. That's another guy I forgot that they brought up. I think that was after the Correa injury, or actually that was for the Diaz injury. They brought him up, and then Stubbs for Stassi, and it was Miles Straw for Carlos Correa. A lot of mixing and matching. Like I said, AJ's got a lot to deal with when it comes to putting people in spots. But yeah, things are going well. 5 in 1 week, and Wednesday they lost. Let's see here. Get the phone back out. 2-1, so it was a close game. Wade Miley just couldn't really score at all in that game. They scored one time in the fourth. It was let's see here, sac fly. So, and Kyle Hendricks of the Cubs kind of shut us down. He had a good game. So, but you take a loss at this point with all the injuries. If you can win the series, I'm not going to complain. Now today was good to get the sweep, because 2 prior series, Boston, they had a chance to get the sweep, couldn't do it. Even the week prior in Boston, they had a chance to get a sweep there, couldn't do it. But it's important when you take the first 2 games of the series, and even though you've won the series, it is important to finish it off, get the sweep. So it's good to see him do that today. And like I said, 40-20 record. Very satisfied with that. To go, player by player, I'm not going to talk a lot about the new players. Miles Straw stole like 3 bases, played a huge part. Jack Mayfield hasn't done a whole lot since his double, his first at bat. Garrett Stubbs did not do a whole lot today. He did actually throw out a key base runner, stealing second. It was a perfect throw right on the bag. But from an offensive standpoint, for a lot of these guys, I'm not going to get into it because I need to see a lot. It's a very small sample size. So I need to see, 50 or so bats before I can start talking about them. But Gurriel actually has done a little bit better. One of the guys that I really think needs to step up. Reddick actually hit 2 home runs over the weekend, one on Friday, one on Sunday. Derek Fisher's another guy I never brought up, was called up. These people are starting to trickle in as I think about the lineup, but Fisher actually hit a key home run Friday, so we'll see. He's had a few base hits here and there. Of course, he's another speed guy. Not like Miles Straw, but he can run well. So we'll see. But a lot of these guys I'm not going to get into when it comes to, offensive production and my overall take. It's just there's not enough there to really talk on that aspect of their game. So, but anyway, like I said, Gurriel stepped up. Bregman's done okay. Brantley is just, he's so consistent. Like leads all of baseball multi-hit games. He's got 10 home runs, so he's got pop there. He just, every day you expect him to get hits, and he's hitting right in the middle of the order where he belongs to be. So, but yeah, Bregman's there. I'm trying to think, because when I think of those, I said Reddick, Gurriel, Bregman, and Brantley are the only guys really that, started on the major, started the season with us and are actually still here. Everybody else seems injured. So, I'm trying to think. And Marisnik's been with us the entire year. So is Tony Kemp, but they haven't been everyday players. Kemp will be, whether it's at second base or in the outfield, and Marisnik has played just about every single day since Springer's got hurt. So, and Marisnik's played well. Kemp has not been as good. He's got an ERA in 230s or something like that. I'm not exactly sure the number, but it's not as good as it was last year. So yeah, from a player standpoint, that's kind of what I got there for you. Pitching-wise, Verlander, so his last start he won, which was yesterday. Went 8 innings, gave up 1 run, struck out 8. He was great. Not a lot I can complain. I believe his ERA is at 2.27, and he's 9-2, and he's like the leading candidate for Cy Young. Granted, it is early in the season, but that's where he is. Garrett Cole, who pitched today, was okay. He actually also pitched in against the Cubs back on Monday and was really good. Struck out 12, 6 innings, 2 runs, got the win there to even his record at 5-5. Today he went 6, gave up 2 earned, I believe. Pull up that box score for you here. But yeah, he went 6, gave up 4 hits, 2 runs. They were both earned, walked 2, only struck out 4. He's the leader in strikeouts of all pitchers this year. So the 4 was kind of different. Hadn't had that low of a strikeout game this year until today. But he did that. And Corbin Martin really struggled again against the Cubs on Tuesday, and he didn't get the win because he couldn't get out of the 4th. But the offense really broke out, so he still won the game. But his numbers in that game here were, he went 3 2/3, 5 hits, 3 runs, all of them were earned. Walked 3, struck out 4, gave up 3 home runs. ERA at 5.51. So Corbin Martin, who actually pitches tomorrow, it'll be an interesting start for him. Then you got Wade Miley. He's consistent, kind of like Brantley. Of course, Brantley from an offensive standpoint, but Miley's going to go out and give you 5, 6, 7 innings, 3 runs or less. I feel like every time. I feel like expect that like every time out. And then your 5th starter, Brad Peacock, who kind of guy that gets overlooked, but he's been fantastic his last 4 or so starts. His ERA, in fact, if we were to go back, a month or so, or 3 weeks, when McHugh was actually being demoted to the bullpen, Peacock and McHugh were sort of neck and neck for losing spots in the rotation. Of course, McHugh lost his, rightfully so, ERA over 6. McHugh was pushing towards, or not McHugh, but Peacock was pitching his ERA toward 5. It's like 4.78 at one point. Now it's all the way down to, see if I can get this for you. He gave up 2 runs on Friday, and get the exact numbers here. 6 innings, 2 runs, they were both earned. Walked 3, struck out 3, but 3.17 ERA. That's the biggest number I look at when I determine a pitcher and how effective they are is ERA. 3.17 is pretty good, considering 4 or 5 starts ago it was close to 5. So he really settled in. Hopefully he continues, or can at least keep things close to what he's been doing for his similar starts. So Corbin Martin really is the only one in the rotation I'm concerned about. If he can't turn things around quickly, he will find himself back in AAA. I don't know who they really have. They have options. Big bullpen and Josh James, Framber Valdez. Of course, they're not pitching that great in the bullpen, but yeah. So anyway, that's kind of how the pitching shapes up. Quick bullpen counter. Osuna's looked good. He had a few saves throughout the week. Presley, the same. Presley actually gave up a run today. Another home run. So he's given up 2 runs this year, both of them via the solo home run. Will Harris, who also gave up a run today, has been very good. Rondon there's nothing I can do or say. We're going to find him in close situations. That's the way AJ's going to use him. And even though you'll be on the edge of your seat, if you're a fan like I am, I just have to live with it. And he actually had a scoreless outing today, which doesn't tell me a lot. I need to see consistent outings, strikeouts, and no runs, easy innings for me to really be a Hector Rondon fan. And I'm not right now, as it stands. Tyler White, the other guy that's sort of on my so-called list, him and Rondon, who have been on it most of the year, or for a good number of weeks now. He actually didn't play the last 2 days, but yeah, he's not getting much better at what he's doing. He'll get some starts at first when they move Hewley to third, Bregman to short. Like I said, it's a lot of mixing and matching. Comes to defensive positioning. DH, they've used Brantley at DH. Bregman will get some days off, but if they continue to do that with the DH spot, it's going to be better than what Tyler White's giving you. So, but to the bullpen. So Valdez didn't pitch a whole lot. Neither did. Well, Josh James got a few. He looks so good. Like, he looks better than he did the first month of the year. Like, the whole month of May, he's looked better. And then he gives up a big home run, and then it's just pretty much all they raced. But he actually got in 2 scoreless innings today and got the save. So, save or the win. I think he got the win. You can't get both, but he got the win. So, that was good to see. Hopefully that will continue. They need another guy. Davinsky didn't pitch a whole lot, so not much on him. But, yeah, so Harris, Presley, Osuna are the the 3 guys I really can't trust in that bullpen. Rondon, it's wait and see. I'm starting to warm up to Josh James. Valdez just won't pitch in any meaningful situations to really, say much about him. But when he gets in the game, he hasn't done a whole really good job. It was great out of the he started a handful of games last year for us and would always work himself into and out of trouble a whole lot. But anyway, going kind of late here, 23 minutes. I will be posting these podcasts either late Sunday night or early Monday morning. So it just depends on the time I got, how work's shaping up. But I'd like to hear from you. So I want to get your thoughts, how you think I did, if I missed anything, if you have anything to add. Always looking for feedback. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's David Artis, DavidArtis. And every Sunday night, I'll be coming to you with a recap of the week in Astros baseball. So if you're a fan of the Astros or just baseball in general, I want to get some knowledge, my thoughts. I feel like I'm a diehard baseball nerd Astros fan ever since I was a kid. So I watch all the games I possibly can, every game basically, unless I'm out of town or it's unavailable to me. But I'll watch at least 150 games a year. And if I'm not watching them, I'm definitely keeping tabs constantly on my phone or listening to them on the radio, either or. But anyway, I'd like to hear from you. Please subscribe if you're a baseball fan, Astros fan, or just, a fan in general. I'd love to hear from you, your thoughts, and I'll be coming to you every Sunday night and recap the week in baseball. So, going kind of long here. Quick thing, next week they do have a 7-game week. So they'll have 4 with the Seattle Mariners and 3 with Baltimore. They'll come back home on the 7th there of June. So those teams don't scare me. I'm thinking 5-2 at the very least. So hopefully they do that. Again, David Artis. And I'm just going to call this podcast at this point Astros Recap. And that'll be a work in progress. That's just what I think of right now. But anyway, so I'll wrap things up there and I'll speak to you next week and we'll see you then.